Hello, Jeff Johnson, creator of WeatherMaker. Just here to show you what's new in the prefab in WeatherMaker 4, what changes have been made. For starters, the prefab has had the configuration canvas pulled out into its own separate prefab. So if you add the prefab, you no longer have the configuration canvas underneath. You'll have to drag that in as a separate prefab, which is available with a list of all these prefabs right here. Second of all, the prefab layout has changed, so if you have a WeatherMaker prefab in your scene, I would probably suggest to delete it and re-add it. Prefab should be a little more modular now. You should be able to deactivate most of the things in the prefab without any problems. You will, at a minimum, need to keep the root prefab object active with all of its scripts. I would suggest keeping the audio, day, night, and light manager objects all active. On the day-night cycle, you can set the speed and night speed to 0, and that will remove dynamic time of day. But everything else, the sky sphere, the full screen effects, wind, and precipitation, if you're not going to be using those, you can but you can deactivate those objects. Finally, under the WeatherMaker prefab, we have two new objects. We've got a global weather zone, and I explain how to use that in the weather zone tutorial. And we've got an audio manager with volume and ambient sliders now. And the weather profile sound fade out is explained in the weather zone tutorial video also. So a little bit cleaner layout, I think, a little bit more lightweight, more modular. You could even build your own prefab if you want, but it's easiest to just drag in the prefab from the prefab folder. One other thing of note is that the prefab, the WeatherMaker script itself, has changed quite a bit. It's way smaller. So you've only got a few properties here to have to deal with. You've got a camera type, which generally can be set to auto, but you also have a couple of other options. You've got the allow camera list, which defaults to the main camera. You can specify whether WeatherMaker ignores reflection probes. This instance's server and client ID will generally auto-populate for you, so you can just leave those alone. We've got a few performance properties. If you're seeing performance issues, you can try turning some of these checkboxes off and see how that helps as well. And that's a great simplification of the WeatherMaker script. Some of the other properties that you may have seen before, such as the celestial objects, that's moved to under the day-night cycle. The sun and the moon each have a celestial object script, and you can configure everything from there. I think that's a little more intuitive than having them in a separate array linked to these objects. Now the script for that celestial object is just right on top of that object itself, so I think that's a little easier to work with. The light manager also maps the celestial objects now, so you simply drag that celestial object script here, and that sets it in the light manager, so it'll use that sun and moon as the light. That's pretty much it for the new changes for WeatherMaker. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions, email me, support@digitalruby.com. I'll be happy to answer your questions. And thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.